And oh boy, this other title fight is.
Yeah, that main event, champion versus champion. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there.
Mhm.
I'm going to throw out my prediction right now. What's going to
Oh,
happen in that fight?
okay.
Just to change it up. Because if I ask
Yeah.
you, what are your thoughts? We're just going to go in circles like what we just said. It's just going to be like, oh, we love this fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put it out there. Because I think both these guys are studs. A month ago, though, I thought it might have been a little too early for Islam to be lightweight champion. I put the biggest wager of my career on Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
I've been backing Volkanovski every step of the way. But Dominic, I think Islam wins this fight, and I think he makes it look pretty easy.
I saw a lot of people saying that last night, Noah. I
Oh,
did.
really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh,
Thought I
no,
was.
I didn't mean to tear away
Uh,
from you there. No, I'm just saying I saw some people throwing that out there, and it is just interesting. And the question I threw out there when I saw it is this the biggest first title defense for a new champion in UFC history? Because I was also trying to think, how often do you see a new champion go to make their first title defense against another champion? Specifically at lightweight, we had Eddie Alvarez do it against Connor. We know how that
mm,
turned out. Connor won. And then the only other one that I could think of was Henry Cejudo technically did it against TJ Dillashaw when he came down to 125 pounds. And of course, Henry did win that one. So it's just you don't see this type of storyline very often. But when you factor in that Volk is coming in, yes, he's the featherweight champion. Volk's the number one pound for pound fighter in the world right now. Islam is the protege of Habib. He just stopped Charles Oliveira's insane win streak. He's on an 11 fight win streak now himself. Finished the last 4 or 5. This feels like the biggest first title defense for a new champion that I can recall in UFC's history.
yeah, I'd probably say the only one that rivals it is the Eddie Connor one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one's probably bigger. But I guess you're not talking about necessarily pay per view buys. You're
The
probably talking
legacy,
more
yeah.
to yeah. I still would say because Connor was so massive at the time, just
Right, right.
and I mean he was beating everybody that I would still probably put that number one. But I at the same time I definitely think there's an argument for Islam
Mm-hmm.
Volk to just have more at stake because I think even the biggest Eddie fans at the time probably didn't think that he was going to be like a 4 or 5 plus year champion. He had came in, he had already been around for a long time.
Yeah,
He was a veteran.
yeah,
Connor was obviously a absolute star. He had
yeah.
blossomed into the biggest name the sport's ever seen. But in this matchup, you got two guys that feel like they're in the absolute peak prime.
Yes, yes.
Volkanovski, especially like at that tail end of his prime, while Islam feels like he has sort of just reached the prime of his career. And Volkanovski's proven he's a long-standing champion. He's one of the best to ever do it. He's one of the best featherweights of all time. He's the pound for pound number one fighter in the world. While Islam feels like he has the makings to be all of that I just said
Exactly.
at
Yeah.
lightweight. So it could be a bit premature, but every time out with Islam, I always have, it feels like with Islam, I always have a question. There's always something going into the fight where I'm like, I'd like to see that, or I don't feel like he's been tested here, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if he's ready for this moment, or whatever. And every time he not only, I don't want to say prove me wrong, but he not only answers that question, but he does it in emphatic fashion.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think there are no more questions for me.
yeah.
Now it's just a matter of can he live up to the hype? Because
Right.
now it's like the hype's real. I
Yes.
mean, you see what he did to Charles Oliveira, and I after the run Charles had been on, it seemed impossible for someone to just thoroughly outclass him everywhere
Yes.
for multiple rounds, and it happened. So I'm thinking Islam's going to win this fight, and I think he's going to make it look easy in the sense of like Volkanov. That's not a knock on Volkanovski. I just think I look at the size difference.
It's tough. Yeah.
If Volkanovski wins that fight, though, Dom, where does that put him all time status? Because I
Oh
mean, I think
man.
right now he's like kind of in that like 12 to 16 range,
Yeah, he's
maybe.
coming. Yeah, right.
He's definitely climbed a big ways over his last few fights. I mean, the 3 wins over Max and the
Yeah.
Ortega fight, like he's really building quite the career for himself. But a win there, do we look at top 10?
I
And
think
now, and I know you might need to see a list in front of you, but let's
right.
kind of look back on some people that we had in our back half of our top 10 back at episode 2, Dom.
Yeah.
Names like Stipe Miocic, names like
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier, Jose Aldo,
Mhm.
even Habib at this point's like right in that range, that
Mhm.
back half of the top 10. You know, I think I had Randy Couture,
Mhm.
like where
Yeah.
like do you think that with the win over Islam, 2 division champion, and considering everything he's already done at featherweight, is that top 10 all-time status?
I think for me it would be. It's been
Mm,
a while since I've went over all of it, but I think so. Like if I had to answer right now, I would say yes.
mm.
If because he's put together a lot of wins now in a row, a lot of title defenses in a row, and then to go up a weight class, and it's just the fact that he could beat someone as good as Islam. I think I would put him in that top 10 somewhere. Yeah,
Mm.
I really do. Would you?
Yeah, I can't
If
wait.
you had
I'm going to say yes,
okay. Okay.
but
Yeah.
I don't know if it goes much higher than like 10.
At the moment, yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
And I think a lot, and maybe some of that is because if he were to win, this was a champion making his first title defense.
Rather than a
It would be
long,
a little
yeah.
different. It would be a little different if he was taking on Charles Oliveira. Yes, I know Islam. I guess what I'm saying is like if Islam was coming in here on a 4 or 5 title defense streak
Right. Right.
and you beat him, then all of a sudden it's like he just beat another all time great. Like
Yeah.
that propels him even more.
Yeah.